the wonderful Doris Sommer PHD, Professor of Romance Languages and African American Studies at Harvard, and Director of the Cultural Agents Initiative. Doris.
Delighted to be here. I'm so honored to be speaking in this gathering. I knew Bernard Lown as a neighbor and a friend and as a great reader. I can say he was a great reader. I'm a teacher of literature. I feel that I can say that with some authority. And he read widely, novels, history, memoirs, biographies, poetry, and he would interrogate everybody about the literature they were reading with his pen and his narrow notebook always in his breast pocket close to his heart. He challenged me and everyone else, pointing a finger and saying, "What have you read lately? Why am I talking to you? What can you contribute to me?" And I tried very hard to answer him responsibly, worried that if I weren't interesting enough, he wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. And I valued so much talking to him. But meanwhile, I understood that with time, that the questions he asked about literature and about arts in general were more about how to legitimate his own love of literature and arts. He loved all the arts. He loved music, obviously. You hear the concert preparation in his honor, theater, sculpture, painting, everything. And he was endlessly curious about different cultures. He wanted to quiz everyone, more to know what else to learn than to put us on the spot. Finally, we learned that he was teasing instead of putting us on the spot. He was a voracious reader, as I say. To the right of his chair, there would be a tower of books, always under construction, always growing. In the last month of his life, I remember at the top of the pile was Stalingrad by Vasily Grossman, 1,000 pages about the siege and the destruction of Stalingrad. But what he really loved about Grossman was another novel that Grossman wrote later called Life and Fate, because that book was the mature Grossman who was the master of nuance, of metaphor, of change of mood, of delicate conversation. And that is where Bernard Lown met a great writer. Bernard was so sensitive to all the nuance, to the half-spoken communication that he picked up as a great doctor. He read people as well or better than he read books. That was his art, one of his arts. And I remember in his last month, when I would visit him, I was his next door neighbor. One time he practically giggled. He said, "I've had a wonderful life." And we all knew he had a wonderful life, a distinguished life, a life of enormous contributions, enormous effort. Look what he did with the IPPNW, his Nobel Prize, his inventions, his saving of thousands of lives, his generosity. He was a monument to humanity. He knew he had made enormous contributions, but the other life that he was celebrating, that life of joy, of enjoying every detail, every nuance, every metaphor, every sunny day, every smell, every taste of food. He would giggle and say, "I've had a wonderful life." I would treat patients who would come to me and share their most intimate problems and stories, and they would teach me things I could never learn from anyone else. And they came and they paid me for those visits. I should have been paying them. And he would laugh. Bernard's joy was unstoppable, and it ignited joy in the rest of us. And I treasure so much that joy that still vibrates in me and in everyone else to whom he pointed that accusatory finger and said, "What have you been reading? teach me something. So that's my grateful and joyful memory of Bernard Lown. Thanks so much for letting me share that with you.